Hello, everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the EBM Scholars. And today we are in the live session. And in this live session, we are going to be giving some immigration updates. And there are so many things happening yesterday and even today, which will be able to cover some of those things. For that particular case, I welcome you to be here, and I believe I will be in a position to answer most of your questions. Yeah, so I'll be waiting people to come here, but the fewer things I will be able to cover today. Number one will be the revoking of the presidential proclamation, the one which ended the immigrants not to come to the United States. It was starting from April 22nd in the year 2020 because of protecting the jobs here in the United States. And then it was extended. That was something to know. So it came out on April 22nd for the first 60 days. And in June 22nd, it was extended until the end of 2020. The end of 2020, December 30th, then it was extended until March. So during that time, there are so many things happening. So the things which happen between, as I said, from April 22nd, 2020 to basically up to today, it is part of the immigration suspension. The immigration suspension before it has been revoked on February 24th, yesterday. Many people have lost the chance, or they had the visa and they were not able to travel to come to America. That was number one. And that affected various types of visas. It has affected H1 visas. It has affected people who are coming in the United States for the what we call the visas, which can lead to certain types of jobs like L visas, J visas, H1 visas, and all immigrant type of visas. So that was a big chunk of time from April 22nd, basically up to yesterday. There was that immigration suspension. So now it has been revoked. So there is no longer that immigration suspension. What does that mean? I already made a couple of videos yesterday and I posted them. I know you'll have a chance to go through those one. But I wanted to have an opportunity to go in detail and explain all those kind of things. Number one, the end of the immigration suspension. What does that mean for the DV 2020 winners? Remember, the DV 2020 winners, there are some who already had the visas and they were not able to travel. So what happened to those people? That's number one. Are they all visas were not issued in 2020 until the fiscal year ended? Then we have DV 2021. The winners are still in the limbo. They haven't done the interview. The fiscal year already started on October 1st. So until end of February, that is about more than 5 months. So for that particular case, those people are they going to answer to do the interview for everybody? Like, that is the question to ask. And in the video I explained that they have to go with high speed on how they can be able to do the interviews, to invite people for the interviews. And then we have the other part of this one is about the video which I made about the visa bulletin and the interviews. What does that mean about the visa bulletin and the interviews? The visa bulletin for March is out. And now the immigration suspension has ended. What does that mean? What is the impact of ending the immigration suspension? That's one. But at the same time, when the interviews are they going to supposed to start? So there are procedures, not just because the immigration suspension has ended or has been revoked on February 24th. Today on 25th or 20 whatever, 2 days later you are going to the interview at the US embassy. No. So if you are expecting the interviews are going to be scheduled by KCC for those who are waiting for the interviews for the DV lottery interviews. it will take a little bit of time, because when you receive the second notification of the letter, the second notification letter is the letter which tells you when to go to the US Embassy for the interview. But from the day you receive the notification, and the interview date is 4 to 6 weeks, meaning you need to do the you have to go and do the medical in between. Some people have to travel to another country or to another city, so you have to prepare everything for medical and going for the interview. So there is 4 to 6 weeks. So that is number one. But the people who are in other type of visas, if you are in India, for instance, or you are in China, you are waiting for the H1 visa and it is already current, or you are waiting for the visas basing on the family or employment based, you can start processing. They can start to process. But for the DV lottery, you have to also to depend on the you being scheduled for the interview. So that's why I say the best scenario will be people from March 1st to start receiving the interview date. And let's say, because there will be so many people and already they're behind, maybe they might take maybe the 3 weeks window, but most likely it will be 4 weeks. So it will be the end of March or the first week of April when people are going to start getting the DV lottery interviews. So the schedules will start going to be on March 1st. That will be the time you can be able to start receiving the second notification from the KCC and preparing for the interviews. But on the previous years, it was easier to look on what we call the visa bulletin and predict when will you be able to go for the visa interview, because we know, for instance, October, what usually there has been the gap on November, December, whatever, we can be able to predict. But now it has been a very difficult to predict when will you be having the interview exactly timeline, because we are going to have 5 to 6 month delay. So if you're going to have 5 to 6 month delay, that means the October people were not interviewed for the DV 2021 winners. November were not interviewed. December were not interviewed. January not interviewed. February have not interviewed. Possible March, most of them they will not be interviewed. So if you're talking about 5 to 6 month people not to be interviewed, yes, there have been the visa bulletin for October, November, December, January, February. Now is the visa bulletin for March. So they are not going to start people for March. They have to start already people from October for the DV winners. And for the others, they will start going to give the interviews, those for the other type of visas, the one who were before that. So that is something I know they are going to be faster, but there's someone who has a current DV our case number for the interviews for March. You have to wait. First of all, there are people who were technically supposed to have the interview in October, interview in November, interview in whatever. So those visa bulletin, yes, they are on going in the normal way, but people were not interviewed, so they have to backlog of are going to accomplish those number of people. But I know there will be another question related to that, and the question might be, what happens for those people who were already have done their interviews? I know there are some people who did their interviews, and then immigration suspending happened before they received their visa back, their passport back. So the passports are still at the US Embassy up to this moment. Those people will be given their passport with the actual visa stamp once the routine opening of the embassies started to operate. I know most of the embassies around the world, they are operating, but the full capacity depends on the local status of the COVID-19. So restriction on the local area will be able to determine those kind of things. So that is something you needed to consider about that. One more thing on that, there are those people who maybe did the medical, who did the police clearance record, and expected to have the interview, and those things have expired. On the medical part, I'm not so sure. They haven't given the directives whether they'll continue use the previous medical or they are going to ask the new medical, because usually after expiring, there is no any exception. You must go and take the new medical medical test. So but I know it is expensive. So for those who have done the medical, they might have the opportunity to either get opportunity to retake the medical or it can be even given the exemption to use the previous medical, unless otherwise there are certain bigger changes in your health condition which will require you to go and to do the medical. So that is something. First of all, I want to make sure that we understand what does that mean. The revoking of the immigration suspension, presidential proclamation 10014 and the 10052. What does that mean to everybody? So everything now is back to the normal situation, depending on the local situations of the country, but we'll start seeing people are going to be interviewed. So that is the bigger news, which I want to make sure that we are all on the same page to understand that one. Okay, few things I've already answered. If Samuel Sami, hello, I just come from work. I think I late. How are you? I'm late. How are you? Hope you have good news. What about the DSC 260 2021 interview? They will start now. I have to go to the email from KCC. You are from Ethiopia. As I've been talking over a few minutes ago, yes, hopeful from Monday, March 1st, whatever, they will be able to start to hear that. Then there is Anne Joel. Hello, EBM. Thank you so much for enlightening us every day. Anne Joel connecting live from Dubai. Thank you so much, Anne Joel. Suesh, habari yako ndugu jirani, listening from Kenya. Leo ni sikukuu mno. President Biden amefanya jambo la busara. So he's talking about that is a very good day today because President Biden has ended the presidential proclamation 10014, which was able to now people be able to come here. So I wanted to give another information about the ending of the proclamation, presidential proclamation, which was ending the people to travel to come to America. And there is still what we call travel restrictions for certain countries, especially the European countries, like Britain and some of the countries in Schengen are not able to travel to America. When President Trump was leaving the office, came up with the executive order. The executive order removed the restrictions, and again, under Biden's when came to the power, put it back. So don't get confused. There is removal of the overall suspension of everybody to come here. That's number one. But again, apart from that, there is another part of immigration suspension or the restrictions based on the COVID for someone to travel to come to America. And this is affecting mostly countries in Europe and including the United Kingdom. So what does that mean? It means even if you're from Europe, even if you're from Africa, or whatever country you are, you have to be careful how you are traveling. After getting the visa, you have to find a way, how are you going to travel to come to America? So for instance, I can give the very good example. There is an example of one guy, is Ugandan. He got the visa. And before the immigration suspension, everything to start, when they said the first immigration, when is going to start that date, he had to travel to come to America. But he went through Amsterdam. Because at that particular time, there was immigration, the travel restriction from people from Europe to come to America. He was at the airport, arriving in the United States. I think it was in New York or Chicago. At the airport, the port of entry was not allowed to enter because it was coming from Europe. They don't care the original destination. What they care, first of all, you are coming directly from Europe. So the trick you need to do is you have, when you got the visa, you have to find out, is the travel restriction based on the COVID related issues? Is it still affecting the countries where I'm flying to do connecting flight? So if you are, for instance, United Kingdom is under there's still the travel restriction based on the COVID. You cannot travel through British Airways going through London and come here. They will not allow you to come here. You have to go through other countries where they don't have the travel restriction. If you go through, for instance, UAE, whatever, you use Emirates, you cannot have that restriction. That's number one to think. But what if you are, let's say you are citizen of a country where there are still a restriction of Europe? What you need to do is you go to another country, you stay for 14 days, then you come from another country. Does that make sense? Because if you move from countries which they have restrictions, you'll be in so much trouble. So you have to go like a self-isolation in a country which doesn't have restriction to come to these countries, then you can be able to do. So now it is affecting more European countries, not Asian countries, not African countries or Latin American countries. So that is something you need to consider. I know there are restrictions, maybe Tanzania, Botswana, whatever, to go to UK. So there's kind of restriction. But for US, there are no COVID-related restrictions from people from Africa and Asia or Latin America. There is mostly from developing overall from where? From the developing, from European countries, what I can simply say that way. Okay, someone is asking about I don't know how to do this. Just one sec. Okay. Someone is asking the link for the, how to join the Telegram. So for those who do not know, there is a group for Telegram where you can be able to join. That is the link for the Telegram. The Telegram group, so where you can be able to go, EBM Telegram group, there is a link, that one. If you go to that link, you'll be able to join and be able to learn anything from there. Okay, so that's one of the things I want to share with you. Okay, let me go some few other comments. Okay, so there is a question for the DV. There is a, let me start. There is this question comes from Delvic David. Hey EBM, how are you doing? Can a refugee or asylum seeker who have been granted a green card in the United States file for his wife and his son to join him? So that is a very good question. First of all, it doesn't matter how you got the green card, because whether you got the green card through asylum or refugee status, or you get a green card through marriage, you get a green card through employment, you get a green card through religion, you get a green card through lottery. Once you have permanent resident, you are all permanent resident. There is no, this is a better permanent resident over the other, because this way, one way is more superior than the other. You are permanent resident, permanent resident. The only difference in this way you got the green card is green card by marriage versus the rest of other types of green card. Green card by marriage, it means you can get or you can become US citizen quicker than any other type of green card ways you have used to get it. So if you get it by asylum, or refugee, work, family related based, like if you are coming, someone is sponsoring a child, whatever, those kind of other green card, you have to wait for 5 years to become US citizen. But for the marriage is 3 years, you can become a US citizen. But the key part of this question is, can the person who got green card, so whether it be by asylum or refugee, whatever, but is already here as a green card holder, can that person file for the wife or overall spouse and a son or a child to join him here in the United States? The answer is yes. There is a procedure on where you can be able to file for a green card for your spouse and the children, but there is a level of preference. That means if I'm a US citizen, I'm getting higher priority than someone who is not a US citizen. A US citizen, the child of the US citizen, the spouse of the US citizen is higher priority to be given green card. So the spouse of the US citizen and the children, there is no limit. Like if you must get this number in a year. There is no limit. As long as you get married, you can bring someone. Then there is a parent. There is a parent of a U.S. citizen. So U.S. citizen is given higher priority. Then the green card holder, the children of the green card holder, spouse of the green card holder is going to be a lesser preference. And there is a cap on each year how many of those visas are going to be issued. So that's why if you go to the visa bulletin is not just going to talk about the DV lottery. There are different categories and the maximum number of visa allocated or green card allocated for those categories of people. So those are some of the things. So the difference will be maybe a green card holder will take maybe 2 through 3 years to file and to process it for your spouse to come to America than a U.S. citizen. If I'm a U.S. citizen, I process it for my child or spouse who is outside the country, maximum will take at least a year. But if you are a green card holder, it will take 2 to 3 years. That will be the difference. So the answer, simple answer, yes. The green card holder, no matter whatever the way you have used it to get the green card, you can be in a position to get green card, to process or to apply or to sponsor your spouse and to sponsor your child to come to America. And the children have been categorized, whether the children are under the age of 21 and married or they above that. There is also different types of the preference and the different types of categories. So the process is there. It is longer. And that's why I usually tell people, those who have won the DV lottery, if you have won the DV lottery and you are processing for the visa to come here, please make sure that you process and come with your spouse right away. Come with your child right away, because that is the only advantage and the quickest way you can come all at once with the green card. Because if you don't do that time in the fiscal year you are supposed to, they will not be given a green card by default, like just to come together. It will take years, up to 3 years, sometimes even longer, for them to be given the visa, to be given the green card. They can come here as a visitor, just a tourist, but not to come as a green card holder, because it's a very long process. So take the opportunity to come all at once so that you can be able to do that. Okay, someone is just, can you give me your WhatsApp number, sir? No, I'm not giving my WhatsApp number because the previous number, I changed my number now. Everybody were just, people are distributing my number everywhere, and the people were calling no matter the time, whether it is night, morning, afternoon. So now I don't give, but there is a Teams, the Telegram group. That is the link you can be able to join, and I will be able to you can be able to join there, and you can ask any question in the group. You can be able to answer that way. Okay. The other question comes from Rebecca Muhofa. The question is about the 80,000 number of green card visas. When is that number going to start? I remember one among the first, I believe I was among the first channel when I made a video to explain that there will be an increase of the DV visas from 55,000 to 80,000. That is a very big increase. But that increase is part of the United States or US Citizenship Act of 2021. It is part of the bill which is now in Congress for the discussion and to be passed. There are aspects of that bill, obviously they will not be able to pass. There are aspects of those one will be able to pass. There are some of the items in the bill will be very controversial, taking longer, and that you have to be in reality that how at the same time you have to give citizenship to all over the million you want to bring, but you have to protect the jobs of people here. You have to make sure that also, apart from that, there are so many other concerns people are having they will be able to rise in the House of Representatives and in the Congress. But increasing the number of from 55 to 80,000, that is not a major than saying going to give green card and possible citizenship to 11 million people. So number one, so that aspect of green card, the increase is green card lottery, it will be able to pass. When it's going to happen, it's going to happen in the middle of March, because that is the time they'll be able to vote on. And if it's going to be passed, it will go from House to the Senate, from Senate to President to be able to sign. Once it is going to be signed, that will be the official, the increase from 55,000 visas to 80,000 visas. So what are the important things to relate about that? Number one, when will that be able to start? It will be able to start immediately from the day the president is going to sign that passed bill from the Congress and it becomes the law. Once it becomes a part of Immigration Nationality Act, it becomes the law. So that means the DV visas will be able to go up from 55 to 80,000. So those who are processing for the DV 2021 right now, who are expecting to be going for the interview, DV 2022 and beyond, they will be able to process everything basing on the new increase of to get the new increase to be able to do that way. So that's number one. But the second part is that increase of visas is different from the number of winners. KCC or the United States, usually they are going to select more people than the number of visas, because usually there are so many people who don't get visas. Either they don't go to the interview or they fail because of so many factors. And I'll talk another video about what makes someone not to be given the visa despite of winning the green card lottery. So those are the important things you need to consider. So at the moment, let's say, give the example of the DV 2021 statistics. Were almost nearby 7-8 million applicants at that DV 2021. And out of those, they selected winners, 133,000 winners. So they take more winners than the number of visas issued. The number of visas, the maximum is 55,000. In the last 10 years, they have never issued 55,000 visas. They issue the visas around 50, 48, 49, 52, around that. Very rare they can reach that 55,000 cap. So they usually take more people. So my question, which I'm figuring out at the moment, is, so if they are going to have 80,000 visas, will that increase the number of winners, selected winners? Because if at the 55,000 winners, the winners, 55,000 visas, the number of winners has been 133,000. So by increasing this one to go to 80,000 visas, are they going to times 2 the number of winners just in case? So that means to go to 160 to see more people are winning. And if you have a high case number, you have to pray more. Some other people not to be given the visa so that you can be able to get to be able to process your visa. So that is something you need to understand, that once the bill is going to be passed from the Congress, becomes the law, it will start immediately and it will start affecting or benefiting the DV 2021 winners and beyond. So DV 2021 winners, they are the one waiting for the visas, DV 2022. But what we are not so sure is, will that increase the number of winners or selected winners for the DV 2022 and beyond, from 133,000 as we have seen in DV 2021 and going further. Okay, my case number, the case number is 40, okay. Okay, my case number is AF 4,000 whatever, so it's about 4,000, I think, whatever. Okay, if your number is less than 5,000, kindly, in your estimate, possible, when do you think it will be estimated the interview? I was in the second visa bulletin in November. So it is very easy to determine that. The interviews we are expecting to start in April, meaning if they are going to give people in March, they are going to give you for the, when you are going for the interview, the second notification. So basically, the people who are supposed to do the interview in October will be the first one to be interviewed. So if you are supposed to be the interview in November, so your interview will be very late, will be in the end of April or beginning of May. That will be your interview time. So don't worry, your interviewer number is very small, so your interview will be in April or early May. Okay, there is a very good question from Tato Philip. Philip, the question is, if you have a baby, can you add her in your form and go with the passport to the embassy? So there are a few things on that. Number one, the question I want to ask you, and I want you to confirm to me, was the baby born after the day you applied for the DV lottery, or was born before? Because that question will be able to determine whether we'll be able to go with that child or not. In other words, is on the day you applied, did you truthful answered all the question correctly? When they ask you, put the number of children. Do you have a child or children? What is the number of children? If you put 0, at the time you're putting 0, was the child already on the planet Earth, or the child was born after the day you submitted your application? If the child was born before you applied, even if it will be one day before you applied, and the day you applied you say you have 0 child, that means you lied. And the instruction number 14 and number 15 of the DV lottery instruction, one it says about marriage, marital status, another one is about children. Number 15 says about children, who is considered as a child to be put there. If you have a child already alive on this planet Earth, and you are going to fill the form, and you say, maybe because the child is far away from you, maybe you have a conflict with your other parent, whether you don't have the photo, whether you is in school, and just because you didn't have the photo, you say, oh, let me put 0. If you put 0, and the child was this planet, you cannot add that child, because if you fill the DSC 260, you have the child, and you go to the visa interview, you will be denied the visa. That is a clear one of the reason why you will be denied the visa, is because you lied, you don't have a child, and you show up with a child on the interview. But if the child was born after the interview, I mean after filling the V lottery form in October, you applied in October, maybe your spouse, your girlfriend is pregnant, or your girlfriend or your spouse got pregnant later, maybe got pregnant in December, and maybe the child was born later, maybe before the interview, and you are feeling while you are filling the DSC 260, the child was not born yet, it was still pregnant. At that time, when the child is born, yes, you can ask KCC to unlock your DSC 260 and update the information about your child by adding the passport number and information about your child, and you'll be coming with your child. But if the child was alive the day you were filling the visa, the DV lottery form, and you didn't say that you have a child, no thank you. If you appear to the embassy with that child, you'll be denied the visa. The same way, as I said, 2 instructions, 14 and 15, that applies also to the marital status. If you say you are married while you are not, or you say you are not married while you are, so that is a very confusion. You will be also going to be denied the visa. So you need to be very careful. So that's why, for the people who are applying for the DV lottery, don't say, oh, I'm coming to apply to this when I win. You are going to apply to the cyber cafe, to the internet cafe, to fill the form. Those people who are filling there, their job is just to make sure they get your money so that they can fill the form. They cannot tell you, they do not know these immigration regulations, that, oh, I want to fill the form, but my child is now at school. They'll tell, just fill it, you'll add when you win. This is not true, because they know for sure if you live there, possible you might not come, or you might go to another cyber cafe, internet cafe, so that you cannot get the money. So for them, they will tell you, just fill this form. Even the email, you don't have the email, they'll use their email address, and then they'll come down the road to scam you. If you have won, they're not going to show you the case number, whatever. So don't do on yourself. Make sure that you put the correct information. If you are married, put the information about you are married. And Rebecca, you were saying, you said you applied, you have kids, but you are single. There is no problem. There is no regulation which says in order to have a child, you must be married. So the question is, do you have kids? Yes. You put your kids in the DV lottery application. The question is not, are you married with kids? No. You can be married without kids. You can be single and have kids. So if the kids are yours, if they are biological, you put them there. Or if you adopted them by adoption, please don't bring me my African, the concept of, oh, I'm paying for school fees of someone. My brother-in-law is not having whatever. So I usually, the kid is staying with me because I live in town. So I just can't like I've adopted the child. No. You haven't adopted the child unless otherwise you went to the court and you have the official documents from the court of law that you are now adopted this child legally. There is no any other way of adoption. So that is what I want to make sure that we all understand. Ezra, you say, hello, I'm a winner for the V lottery, but I'm worried about the public charge. You can consider that I don't have much property. First of all, go on my YouTube here. You will see the video I talked about the public charge. There is no form of the public charge. They are not, at the moment, they are not, there is no form. You are not required to fill the public charge at the moment. That's why even if you go to the what? Even if you go to type the public charge form, that form, you will not be able to see it because that form has been removed. And I'm going to put the link of the video which I've been explaining. That is the public charge. So public charge rule. I explain in that way that video, there is no public charge any longer. Okay, so okay. Okay, there is a question from question about Etikus Kiranga. How long does the Form I-730 take to get approved by USCIS? That form is the form which is related to asylum seeking or refugee relative petition. Basically, I do not know how long does that take. So I don't want to answer that one. So that, yeah. Okay. Okay. There is another very good question from Stephen, John Ganko. Stephen, the question is, what if you win the DV lottery and you are in America? What happens, or what will happen? So there are two processes here. If you win the diversity visa lottery in America, and if you win the diversity visa lottery outside of America. Why there is a difference between these two? There is a difference because if you win, you are outside of America. In order to come to America, you must go to the US Embassy. You must go to the consular officer to be interviewed. So for that case, you have to go to the embassy. So you will be processed by the Department of State. I'm saying by Department of State because Department of State is the one responsible for visas and embassies and people to go through that door to come here. And all the forms you are going to fill, if you are outside of the United States, are the forms starting with the word DS. So if you come as a student, for instance, you are going to fill the form DS 160. That is a non-immigrant visa form. But if you win the DV lottery, you are coming here as immigrant, you are going to be given an immigrant visa. So you are going to fill the DS, Department of State form number 260. You'll be able to come here. And also, you'll be also waiting for KCC to do everything, but you are processing to go through the US Embassy. But if you are already in the United States, if you win the DV lottery, if you get married, if you are going to get the green card through employment, all those people, they are going to fill one particular form, is called the adjustment of status. And let me, so the adjustment of status, that means you are adjusting status from whatever status you are. Let's say you are in America as an international student, F1. So you are moving from F1 to permanent resident. So is the application to register for permanent residence, which we call you are adjusting your status. So what happens if you are already in the United States? So what you will be doing a process called the adjustment of status. And while you are in the United States, already inside the United States, there is no US embassy. There is no embassy within the country. So if there is no embassy within the country, there is another department or another agency which is dealing with the people who are already here. So if you are dealing with immigration outside the country, you are dealing with through the US Embassy. If you are inside the United States, you are dealing with what you call United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS. So you'll fill the forms starting with I. So you are going to fill, the form is called I-485. So you will not go to the consulate to do the interview. You are going to do the interview with the USCIS. That is, the interview will be within the United States. And you are going to file the form which is different. Adjustment of status form. So a process will be different if you're already in the United States. But what if, let's say you are married and you have kids and you are here in the United States, but your spouse and child or children are outside the country? You have two ways to do. You can process yourself here, and your relative can process within the same fiscal year overseas at the embassy. They are going to do that. Or the other easy way is all of you to go to do the interview in one country. If you are going to your home country, you can file, you are going to fill the DSC 260 if you want to do outside the US, and then you can go out and do there and come back if you want to do that. That's okay too. But there is a difference in a process between if you are already in the United States or you are outside, because you are going to be dealing with the Department of State if you're outside. But if you are already here in the United States, you are going to deal with the USCIS, which is the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, which is under DHS, Department of Homeland Security. There is a question about the public charge. This question comes from Sewa Guli. And it says, I used it to study in another country back in 2015, 2016. Do I have to get a police certificate from that country? It has been 5 years. I haven't been there, by the way. So I want to give you to understand, first of all, the reasoning behind the police clearance form. Why is that required? That's number one. But the two, what are the rules for the police clearance form? Number one, the overall purpose of the police clearance form, if you're outside the United States and you are coming here under green card, if you are coming here as a student, they don't do that. That form is not required. But if you are coming here under immigrant visa, you must do that. Just like medical. If you are coming here as the green card, whether you are here, you are doing adjustment of status, you must do the medical. But again, if you are coming from as a international student, you don't need to fill the form. You are not going to do the medical to be given the visa. So the police clearance is for United States to be assured that we are going to admit someone in the United States who has no severe criminal past, criminal record. So there is no exception on that. There is no exception. So if you are at the age of 16 and above, first of all, at the age of 16 and above, you have lived in any country on this earth for 6 months and above the age of 16, going further, you have been able to live there for 6 months and beyond. It doesn't matter whether you have lived that 20 years ago, you have lived in that country last year. It doesn't matter whether it's 5 years like how you were saying, or whether it was 20 years ago. You must go and get the police clearance record. There is no exception with that. The U.S. consular officer will not feel sorry to deny you the visa for incomplete application, for failure to submit the documents. What if if it has passed 5 years, but you are most wanted criminal in that particular country? How do we know? We cannot know. We cannot take just for your word that I lived there, I was a student, I was a good person. We don't go by your word. We go by the fact. And even those who have won the DV lottery, they are in the United States, or you got married, you are in the United States, married with a U.S. citizen, or you are getting a green card through employment-based, you have to do the same police clearance by doing the fingerprint and other things to prove that you don't have that criminal past. So I know you might ask me a question, but I live in that country. It is difficult to get that whatever. So do whatever it takes. You have 2 options. Remember, the DV 2021, if you are the winner of DV 2021, the selected winners, the number of selected winners are 133,000. And the visas are going to be issued is 55,000. If they're going to add it, it's going to be 80,000. Remember, there will be so many people who are waiting for you to be not to be denied the visa so that they can go to the U.S. embassy to be given your visa. So if you show up there without criminal record, police clearance record, they are going to deny you the visa. I assure you, I guarantee you, you'll be denied the visa. So whether you have to go back to that country, go back to that country, get it, or you find out if that country provides the police clearance, if you go to apply online, or you contact the US, contact the embassy of that country, in your country. If let's say you are from Madagascar and you lived maybe in Egypt, contact the Egyptian embassy in your country. What are the steps? Or contact the police headquarters. What is the process to get the? If it will be difficult, find a way to travel. Go in that particular country. Spend your money, but showing up without police record, they are not going to give you the visa to come to America while we are not so sure what is your past, what is your affiliate with the terrorists. We are not so sure about that. And if it is expired, get the newer one. So don't feel sorry. Oh, these people, why they don't trust me? Yeah, we are not trusting because we do not know. It's a law. You must follow the regulation. So that is something I want to make sure that you understand. That particular requirement is a very important one. You must have the police clearance before you get the visa. So find any way possible to get the clearance, whether to go there and cry to the police officer, crawling down. So if you have lived in 3 countries at the age above 16 and beyond, you have lived in any country for more than 6 months, you have to get 3 police clearance record. Do whatever it takes to get them. That is what I'm telling you, because otherwise you'll be in trouble. And if you lie that I've never lived outside the country, and by whatever case they find out at the interview you are living in another country and you purposely you lied, you are going to be denied the visa too, because you have been hiding the very critical information which can jeopardize everything for the security of the great nation on the planet Earth, United States of America. Is there any possibility of extending the deadline for interviews? If it has to be done that way, it will be by the court, not just by Biden saying, oh, let's extend, because that is the law. That's why even the DV 2020, it has to be decided by the court. Not just me or vice president or president or the director of immigration or Department of State. No, it has to go through the court system to give that extension. You're asking, hello, for the V 2021, will KCC send thousands of second notification letter in 1 month? Yes. Remember, not all people are in one country. Not all winners are in one country. So when they are sending the 1,000 interviews, they're not sending all 1,000 interviews to be interviewed in Ghana. They can send maybe 4,000 in 1 month, but there will be winners from Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, Madagascar, wherever, Africa, Asia, Europe, whatever. So in each country, just assume the entire world, there are winners in every country. So there will be each country, they will be doing interviews at the same time. They're not doing just 1,000 for Africa and just one country. No. They are doing all over the world at the same time. So yes, they'll be dealing a lot of those ones. Hey, EBM, question from Komba. Question from Komba Senesie. Hi, EBM, what are the US job qualifications that might help the winners not to be denied a visa during the interview, please? Watching live from Sierra Leone. So, number one, in the when you are filling the form DSC 260, they ask you the question, what type of job are you intending to do in the United States? The purpose of that question is not that you said you are going to be a banker, that once you arrive in America, you must be a banker. No. The purpose is to know that you have a good plan. That is the overall purpose. You can say, I want to become a banker. You come here in America, you know for sure you cannot be a banker. You can say, join the U.S. military. You can plan to come to join the U.S. military. You come here, say, no, I can become a nurse. I can become a doctor. You see? So the point of that question is just to know that you have a good plan. But if you answer that, oh, my aim is to go to America and to become a thief, to become a robber, to become a drug dealer, yeah, you're not going to be given the visa. Because there are so many security questions you have been answering in the DSC 260 that, are you intending to go there to do trafficking? Are you going there to go to do drug? Are you going to be there to do 1, 2, 3, 4, the bad things, crimes? If you already answered no, it means anything you're planning to do in America will be in a good intention of you to be a better person. So that question is a very, very minimal. And they are not going to ask, what are you planning to do in that particular interview? And even if you say, I want to become a banker, I want to become a police officer, I want to become a teacher, it has nothing to do whether to be denied the visa or not. The only thing is if you say something which is a criminal related, that's what you plan to do, yes, you will be denied the visa. But whatever the job you say, they don't care. Because you are coming to be a permanent resident in America. So you will not have one job. You can become here, become a doctor, and then maybe you find out you don't like to be a doctor. You can move and become something else. So there is no a guarantee of just one particular job you'll be able to do. You'll be able to change here and there. So don't worry about that, that it will be a reason to be denied the visa. The reasons to be denied the visa are bigger than just what you're planning to do in America in terms of the job. It will be more, do you meet the qualifications? Meaning, do you meet the education and or work experience? That's number one. 2 will be criminal record. Things of that nature. But the other question led to that. Someone is asking the question, do they call the companies you said you have been working for? Pelesa is having added the question on that. No, they're not going to call that. But don't lie. They might decide to do so if they want, but most likely they're not doing that. But they can do that. The other related question is, someone is asking, how do I usually people have been asking about work experience. How do I put my get the work experience. Just start how you write the name of the company, when did you work, duration, job title, job responsibilities, the supervisor contact is there. So you started from the current one going below. Even if you have PhD, yes, you still need to have also education and work experience. So that is something you need to know about that. Can I use Interpol to get the police clearance letter? It doesn't matter, as long as you said you lived in Tanzania, get a record from the police that you are not a criminal in that country. If you lived in Sudan, show the letter you have never committed any crime in Sudan. Whether you get it from FBI, whether you get it from Interpol, whether you get it from CIA, it doesn't matter. As long as there is official document from that country says you are not a criminal in that country, you are good. Some you say, my country, Tunisia, has 173 winners with derivatives. There is not much charge for the embassy. I hope the process goes very smooth. Let's hope so. But usually those winners, not all winners, they have the same, maybe under 10,000 case number. The winners can be, some might be 50,000 number, some will be 60. So each person will have different interview date or timing based on the case number. There is another very good question about marital status. This question is from Samuel Sami. When I apply for the DV lottery, I was single. Now you are engaged. You have a fiance. What do I do? What do I do if I want to get married? You get married. Number one, being engaged is not official. You don't have any official document from your government that you are engaged. Being boyfriend and girlfriend, engagement, there is no official document from the country that you are, this is a status boyfriend and girlfriend. Like if you are marriage certificate, there is no engagement certificate. There is no that document. So up to that moment, if you want to come to America, you can come alone. But if you want to come with your girlfriend, boyfriend, you are engaged person, your fiance, whatever, you want to come with that person, you must legally get married. And if you have already filled the DSC 260, after getting married, write to KCC. You don't need to give any explanation. You just write, will you please unlock my DSC 260? I want to update something about marital status. Simple like that. Then you are going to add the information of your spouse after getting married. And when KCC, they ask you for documents, you will add the documents of your new spouse. And if you have already submitted the documents, after getting married, after updating the DSC 260, you will also send another updated email of the documents of your spouse to KCC. And remember, your spouse also needs to have police clearance record too. Your spouse needs to have a passport too. So that is something. But at the US Embassy, they'll want to know if your marriage is a bona fide marriage, if your marriage is a true marriage, or is just a part of immigration scam. Are you getting married to someone so that that person can come along with you in the United States direct as a green card winner? And someone can get a green card, or are you really getting married, or you are already husband and wife? So you need to have a lot of documentations to prove that you are really married. It's a bona fide marriage. So you need to have photos of the wedding, if you did a little bit of celebration, certificate, all those kind of things. And if you live together, obviously you are married, you'll be living together. Come with a proof, as long as if you are having some insurance, like health insurance together. All those kind of things, you have to bring them together to prove that you are husband and wife. Without that proof, you are not going to be able to be given the visa. So if you cannot prove that it's a bona fide marriage, you'll be denied the visa. The same process applies here. When I got married to my wife, we have to prove that we are really married, not on the basis of just getting green card. So the same philosophy applies even if you're outside. And especially now you get, there are some people that have already been get married maybe 5 years ago, they have kids, whatever. That is a different story. They don't need so much evidence. But you getting married after winning 2 months before the interview, that is a little bit fishy. So you need to have more evidences to prove that, yes, we got married, but not just because of the green card. Does that make sense to you? So that I want to make sure that you understand, because I remember there is one person, this Tanzanian, they were husband, girlfriend, and boyfriend, they were engaged, whatever. So when they won, I told them to, obviously they have to get married in order for them to come together. When they went to the embassy, they told also to submit extra documents. So they went back and to get more documents to bring them there, and they were given their green card. So they came here since May 2019. June 2019. That is when they came here in the United States. So yes, if they're not denied right away, they'll tell you to bring more evidence first for them to be to prove themselves instead of yeah. Do I need to get a new police certificate since mine will expire in September 2021? We are not in September yet. Now it is just February. If we are in February and you're talking about September, what if your interview is March? What if your interview is May? It hasn't expired. Even if you're going to the interview today, your police clearance is going to expire tomorrow. It is still valid today. So don't get the newer one unless otherwise it has expired. It hasn't expired, so don't worry. Is it possible, Pavel, is it possible to go to the interview without unlock BSc-260 form as a baby still just born and not yet have a passport? No, you cannot. First of all, why? Like, in order to get a visa, you must fill a visa form. So if you haven't filled the visa form, BSc-260 is a visa form. So a child hasn't have a profile in there, so the child will not be given the visa. How will the child be given the visa? A child has to have information. The father is here or the mother is here. The winner, many applicant. Then the derivatives are here. Each derivative has a form. Without a form, the derivative will never be given the visa. Without a passport, how can a visa stamp be put? A child is born even today will not be allowed to get into the plane to go to any country without a visa. And a visa must be on the passport. So you must get a passport. You must unlock and put the information. You cannot go to get the money from the bank if you don't have a bank account in that bank. You cannot go to the US Embassy. How do they give you the visa? On what record? They don't have your application. They don't have your information. So a child, even if he's 1 day old, must be updated a full form as derivative in the application. Okay, I've been already an hour, so I have very few minutes to finish here, and I have to continue with my work. My country, Sierra Leone, presently under suspension by the local U.S. Embassy. Will that affect the winners of the DV visas if the suspension is not lifted before the visa assurance starts? First of all, the overall suspension has already been removed. Now what is there, it's because of the local pandemic situation. They might have very few people going to the U.S. Embassy and special restrictions. So that is not going to be affected. Now people will be given the visas. Don't worry. The only way it will be, maybe speed will be different. They have procedures, maybe in order to go there, you have to make sure your temperature, you have to wear a mask, you have to come with whatever, all those kind of things. My sponsor changed the address that is in a new state now, but in my dear students, there is all the address. Will it cause a problem? No, doesn't change any problem. Yeah, you can go to another. I mean, as long as you have the address, even if you come at the airport, you say I was planning to go this, but this person moved to this address. They don't care. Yeah, it doesn't affect. For instance, Carla, the green card winner, and his wife and their child, they are planning to go Atlanta to the first. That's the original address, but we changed. They come to live here in a different state from Georgia to Missouri, and there was no any problem. Peter is a hi EBM watching from Ghana. When you travel to the United States on a tourist visa and you found out later that you have won the DV lottery, is it possible to do adjustment of status there in the United States? Yes, you can do here, as long as your visa will continue to be valid until the day you are going to the interview. So if your visa is 3 months, you cannot do adjustment here if just the results come out in May and you have won and you have 1 month to live on your visa. You cannot do adjustment while the interview they are going to start in October. You'll be already illegal. So you'll be introducing yourself to the crime. So as long as you are here legally, yes. But if you're out of status, you're already illegal, and you go there, you'll be denied. Okay, Karen, you say, hi EBM, my police clearance has expired last week. That I wanted to know, the NVC already have my all my info. Want to know where should I state the US in the US. So I don't know whether you'll be required to have the new police clearance. If they have already used that one, you can use the same one to the US Embassy. If the US Embassy really wants the brand new one, they will tell you, they will not deny you the visa. They say the one which is here has expired, but you've already submitted to the KCC. They want to get they will try to get the newer one. But my advice will be, if you have the opportunity to get a newer one, even if you have the old one, go with the old one, go with the new one, to make it easier for yourself. Sylvester George, hi kaka EBM, I'm from Tanzania. Mambo vipi mkuu wa kazi? Na mimi naendelea vizuri. Karen, you are saying the new police certificate. How long do we stay in apartment until we get a green card? When you get the visa, that visa is a green card. But the actual card, the card itself, it depends on factors, how fast I can come to you. Once you get the visa, the day you are given the visa at the embassy, you are supposed to pay what we call USCIS fee, which is a green card fee. The fee of printing this actual card and to get the card. So that card, you have to pay 220. If you pay before you come here, it will be a little bit quicker and faster to get it once you arrive in America. Once you arrive here, excuse me, within a month you can be able to get. But if you don't pay that fee, you pay while you are here, you are delaying the process by yourself. But that doesn't affect you to start working. Because once you arrive here with your visa, the visa says is immigrant visa, the same week you can go to the Social Security, you can get a Social Security card, and you can start being able working. This card is nothing. The visa itself is a permanent resident visa. The card, even if it comes 6 months later, has nothing to do with you starting working and to continue with your life. But once you get the visa in your country, you must travel within 6 months. If you don't travel within 6 months, it will be able to expire. B1 visas issued at the moment, yes, they are issuing those B1, B2, the visas they are going to issue. I know Tanzania, yes, they are doing that. Okay, how are you saying, Scarlett? So let me take you back a little. Currently, I'm in Qatar currently, but have been in Dubai. Let's say I win. How will I manage to get the police records in Dubai? Travel to Dubai, go and get it. Go to the embassy of Dubai, whatever that the embassy of that particular country where you are. Ask them procedure. Check online the police if you can request a record that I lived in your country for 1 year from this time to this time. This is my name. How can I get my clearance online? So find any way. Call them, police. Check their website if they are going to issue that one. Go to their embassy. travel, whatever, do whatever it takes to get that one. Okay, this question I've answered many times, but let me make it clear. This question is from Ad Wheels. Say, how long does it take to get the actual card? How long does that take to get this actual card from UCSIS when you get into the United States? As I've been saying, there is, once you, first of all, it starts with the process after going to the US Embassy for the visa, immigrant visa. You have won the DV lottery, you are going to the US Embassy, you are told you are being given the green card. You will be given the passport. In the passport, there is a green card visa. There will be immigrant visa. For those who do not understand, there is a difference between immigrant and non-immigrant. Non-immigrant are temporary visas. You come as a student, tourist, medical, whatever, or come to work for short time. Those are non-immigrant. That means you are not becoming a permanent resident. But permanent resident is immigrant visa. That means from day one, you are allowed to work to any employer. Obviously, there are restrictions on the US government jobs, but you'll be allowed. So once you are given that visa stamp on your passport, you'll be having, they'll give you a piece of paper. They'll tell you you have to pay for what is called USCIS fee, which is that fee used for them to print and send the actual card to you. So in order for them to send this actual card to you, you have to pay that fee. So when should you pay that fee? It is advisable to pay that fee before even you get into the plane. Once you get that visa, you are allowed to pay that visa fee before even you get into the plane. That means you have already paid the KCC, the USCIS. They will be able to print the card and send it to the address which you put on the DSC 260. That's why in the DSC 260, they ask which address do you want to, you are going to stay. And they are asking, is this address the one who will be able to send the card? So that address which you put on the DSC 260 is the one, the UCSIS immigration, they will be able to send their card to you. So if you paid that money early, let's say you get the visa on March 1st, and once you get the visa on March 1st, you have 6 months to travel. Let's say you travel 2 months later. But within the 2 months later, you got the visa today, and today you pay the actual card. Maybe within a month or two, even if you haven't arrived here, the card will be sent to your address you said you are going to stay. But if you don't pay right away, you wait until you arrive in America, and then you go to pay while you are here, again, it will take a month to 2 months to get the actual card. So after paying, give yourself at least a month. And especially with pandemic, up to 2 months possible to get the actual card. But as I've said, the actual card doesn't have anything, and your employer doesn't need to see your card. Doesn't need to see your card. You'll have a social security number. Once you arrive here with your immigrant visa there, you will go to what we call Social Security Administration Office. Once you go to the Social Security Administration Office, you will ask them, you show their passport with the visa, they are going to give the social security number in a small card. That social is the one which authorizes you to be able to work to any employer. So you can start your life working and everything within this card, without this card. So the card is just a summary of what is already in your visa. So yes, it is better to have the card, but no one, police, whatever, will need to have that card right away. And if you, after that one, after getting the social security, you can go to the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicle, and get your ID, the state ID or the driving license, which is the ID which everybody uses. Or at the same time, when you are applying for a job, they want to see your ID, you can show your passport if you don't have the local ID, and your social security number will be allowed to work to any employer. So that means I've been able to answer when you will be able to get the actual card itself. That's the bigger one. But again, that depends on when are you going to pay that fee. After paying the fee, how long does that take? So I think I've been able to answer that question correctly. Remy, hello EBM. Please, I have a very important question. My wife had a child with a man before he got married. Please, I want to know if I claim the child as a stepdaughter, where as she does the where as she doesn't has name. You mean your name? If he was a stepdaughter, when you are applying for the DV lottery, a stepdaughter, a stepchild is allowed to be included in the application. And to be included in your application or to come with that child, doesn't you don't need it to force it to have your name. You don't need to have, it doesn't have to have a name. As long as you can prove that it's your stepdaughter, is a stepchild, you can come with that child. There is a process to follow, but in order to have your name, to change the name, you must adopt that child. You don't just change the name wherever you want to change the name. Nishan Pandey, you say you are responding to Msteen TV. It means if we stayed only for 3 months and have no visa for that country in my passport, if you have stayed in any country for 5 months, you don't need the police clearance record from that country. The law says you must have stayed in the country for 6 months and above in order to have the police clearance record. If you haven't stayed for 6 months, it doesn't count. You don't need even you don't even to mention. Even if you mention, you must include the countries you have stayed for more than 6 months to get a police clearance record. For the travel restriction, all I will say, you need to be in a country without restriction for 14 days. Only South Africa is affected in Africa. Yes, South Africa, UK, in England. So that's something. And so if you are traveling, let's say you are from Sudan, don't you travel through South Africa and then come to America, because you'll be considered you're coming from South Africa. So you have to go to a country which doesn't have restriction. If you're from South Africa, go to Botswana, go to Tanzania, go to Kenya for 14 days, take a vacation, and then come here. Are we allowed to stay in a hotel in case we do not have a host or an apartment? Yeah, you are allowed. There is no problem with that. Thank you, MCN TV. You have been answering very well. You have answered the nation pandemic. That information says you need to provide police clearance for every country you have stayed or you have lived in for more than 6 months. Meaning, if you have lived in a country for less than 6 months, you don't need the police clearance record. Okay. Sylvester Kaka EBM, how do you see the DV 2020 winners from the one didn't get the second notification letter? Is there any possibilities of having letters on the interview? There is a possibility, because those who have been interviewed, that the court has already made the decision that they will be coming. Those who were not interviewed, still there is a court situation. There is a situation where their visa will be preserved, and they'll be able to get, because there are a lot of them. Hi, bro, U.S. Immigration. Thank you so much. Aki Patel. Jesper Chong, how fast do you think the visa bulletin will move now? It will move so fast, because it's already, they have to process faster, so that, because we already delayed like 6 months before. Please, EBM, when is the interview for the DV 2020 starting? We are hoping probably by the beginning of April. Zoltan, hi EBM, hope you are well. My question will be, winning on the DV lottery, how many times I have to fill my DS260? How many times? You just fill once. You don't fill more than once, because once you go in the system, you use your case number, you use your passport, whatever, and you log in, the information will be the same. So you don't fill more than that. Ichai, can your medical results be issued to you 2 weeks before your interviews? Yes. But you don't open the medical form. I mean, the medical results, you don't open. They will give you, the doctor will give you and you don't open, you go direct with them, closed at the US embassy. Charles Jacob, habari, is Tanzania still eligible for the DV lottery? Yes, very eligible. Thank you, Sueshi, for answering that. There is no any country on the travel ban at the moment. So I've been here for over 80 minutes. So thank you, everyone. I have to Nishan Pandes, EBM, last question, sir. I'm still confused. In my DSC260 form, my spouse address is California, but now lives in Texas. So his address is changed, but in my DSC260 is still the old address. Need your help. You can leave the same address if you want that way, or you can ask the KCC to unlock and then change the address. Either way is okay. Remy say, Lecturer Harun, thank you. Okay. Remy say, thank you, EBM, for your wonderful updates, but the issue is played a single, but later get married. So what little bit disturbed if I feel for my stepdaughter? Will that have, because no, it doesn't affect you, because before you got married, that was not your stepdaughter. Was you just the girlfriend, it was the child of your girlfriend. Does that make sense? Now, after getting married, that becomes your stepdaughter. You'll be able to include in the DSC 260, you can come with that person. But before that was just the daughter of the person you were dating.